really got me. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, I just want to say, can I say something? What I love about your poetry is you have these marvelous narratives going with such great detail. I'm drawn right in and I stay there. It's just wonderful. I feel like I've been on a beautiful journey. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Gabby. And I'm looking forward to your reading very much. Your reading is long overdue.
Thank you, and that was a wonderful, wonderful reading. And I really, especially hearing all of it at once, one nice reading of it was just so beautiful. Really happy to have, and I actually walked in and walked directly to this. So it was so great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Like I said, I've been reading about kind of Rex Roth and learning about all the little matters how prior to our time, and it's a good perspective what you guys are doing. So I'm so glad to be part of this community. You know.
And also, Elaine, you look just beautiful.
I curled my hair.
Your hair, your outfit, it's just it's lovely.
Oh, thank you.
The poem about your student reminded me of Phraseology for Jane, which is one of the poems about farewell to his student who was thrown force, and a very powerful poem. Thanks, Elaine, for that.
I don't know that poem.
Fantastic people. Powerful had poet.
Aren't we all half that?
Yes.
I am
Goes
not.
with the territory.
More than half of
Just
them.
fine, okay? Fine.
That poem about your student also reminded me of a poem of Marcia's about one of her students who died. Marcia, yes, I love that poem.
But about Elaine's poems, though, there were several that were about the young girls coming to so much grief.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess I thought of that.
Elaine, the one particular piece that or part of the piece was also from that poem about Morocco that struck me. I never heard the description of the flatness of land or the absence of features described by the lack of echo. That is something I as a musician and someone who always takes care when experiencing the audio of an environment, that was a profound way to describe that kind of scene, and it immediately gave me an instant picture.
Thank
There's
you.
some odd feedback for voices. Are there people hearing that?
There are, I'm not sure if you're hearing feedback or maybe a couple of people that are speaking in the room here.
Oh,
But I definitely appreciate the feedback, and I would encourage everyone that while we're experiencing this hybrid scenario for the first time, put any notes of anything that you're hearing, any issues you're having with the experience, the quality of the audio, the quality of the video, if there's delay, anything like that. Any of those comments, put them in the chat room. That would be great. And unless we have any further comments, of course, please, I don't want to stop from going around the room there. But otherwise, we would move to the open mic. And I think the best way, because I'm here, I'm not no longer in front of my computer anymore. So normally I would take notes on who wants to read a poem or anything like that. And actually someone who came by to the library was just told about this, and a woman, Valerie, showed up here as a new attendee, and has a couple of poems to read as well. But if you would like to read, because I'm not going to be able to, normally I would say put your hand up if you want to read, but what I'd like you to do is please put your full name in the chat room and just say, I'd like to read. And that way I can look at it on screen here and then just call on you. We'll use that as kind of the roll call. So they all appear in one order. I'm going to ask that anyone who wants to read a poem tonight, please do that now, so they're all aggregated in one spot. We don't have to scroll up and down looking for who wants to read. And I'm just going to go down the list, first come, first served. I'll give everybody a minute to do that. While we do that, I have just a short 6 lines to read. I have something else for my daughter later, but as everybody's putting their names down, this is called The Loom of Existence. Pairings are not a human creation when there can be particle and wave. Pinpoints and horseshoes each have value. Fecundity manifests like buds and peat. Space and time integrate the thoughts of the weaver at the loom of existence. All right, let's see who's first here. Are we at the top of the list?
Yeah, I've got 4 people, Peg,
4.
Mariana, Bonnie, and Edith, and I'd like to read.
Great. Why don't we start with Peg, please? Make sure you are unmuted. Oh, and one last note. If you can see, I have this little device here, and for any of the uninitiated on this, I always record the audio from these get-togethers and share them on my podcast. I'll make sure that I put the details of that at the end here. But if you would prefer that your piece not be recorded, I ask that you let me know right before you read so I can pause it. And otherwise, it's very difficult to scrub through that audio and find exactly where that person didn't want their piece recorded. But unless you say something, this is recording. And Peg, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I have a poem about one of my students. It's titled First Grade Physics Test. Walking near the playground fence, a gust of wind tossed Jenna's dress. She leapt and pressed it with her arms, which formed a cumulus of charm round a scruffy girl with no defense from a buoyant wind and a ruffled dress. Her weathered hair was a glorious mess, while her red chapped lips could not suppress a squeal. It sounded trumpet to confess surprised delight as she failed the test to wrestle down her ruffled dress. Thank you.
Next up, Mariana.
Yes. Thank you, Peg. Next up, we have Mariana. And Mariana, please make sure you unmute. Thanks.
Hey everyone, so this is my first open mic. I'm actually a student of Marsha's, and I'm hoping to read 2 poems of mine. So the first one is called You. This one in class we were learning how to write lyric poems, and this one was one of my own favorites. So it's called You. Let you stare into me hauntingly, lovingly, desperately, how your hands graze my cheek, looking into my heart. Your eyes are pools of chocolate, you hold me, unsure when you would again. Slowly our movement become one, your body molds with mine, like clay by a sculptor. Our constellations merge and ignite the night sky. You, who I love longingly, significantly, desperately. And then my second poem, I call Blue Moon. Just a little nice title, I thought. Standing by the lakeside, the child kneels down, crouched, hidden, as she watched her take form before her. She is gorgeous, breathtaking, unimaginable. A unicorn staring back at her, her magical body pure and white, glowing under the moon's embrace. Her eyes have no reflection and only see what is and what was, the knowledge of life and death. She stares and the child can't help but cry. The lake ripples, the night calls, the stars echo her name. She is gone. The animated night goes quiet, still the years go on. Now the shore remains silent. I never saw her again, but I know she saw me. And that's it.
Bonnie or Enid.
Thank you, Mariana. And welcome, and please come back and tell your friends. Next we have Bonnie. Bonnie, make sure you unmute, please.
Okay, let's see.
She does that every time. She's muted.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm looking right at myself here. I'm going to put the gallery view back on because I feel too self-conscious. Okay. So this poem is actually one I just discovered. My sister, who's moving from her house in Florida to be up north near her daughter and her grandson, has been going through her house, and she's been sending me things. So one of the things she sent me was a big box that my father had sent home from World War II. It was a wooden box that a German civilian had made him to send home some of the souvenirs that he would be bringing home from the war. Anyway, somehow this poem ended up in it. It was actually something I wrote for my sister, and she inadvertently included that in the box. But it's one I had really forgotten about. I wrote it back in 1998. And it's all about my sisters and myself. The one thing you have to know about it, to have it make sense, is that the three of us look nothing alike. We don't have the same coloring, we're not the same height, we're not the same body shape, nothing. So if you looked at the three of us and you didn't know us, you probably wouldn't even know we're related. Okay, so that's the background. For my sisters, 6.5 years without the two of you. Enough. I called to say I'm flying east. We decide to meet in Tampa, where the youngest lives. Her daughter's with her at the airport. At 10, she looks the same as you did then. Middle sister's daughter, now 20 and several inches taller than me, has driven down from college for the weekend. She and my 12-year-old nephew, who's already preparing for his bar mitzvah, run out of the house to greet us. Brother-in-law drives up, we kiss and hug. He says the magic words, "You look the same." Middle sister and husband arrive. They've driven in from Florida's other coast. Never 3 peas in a pod. All we seem to share now is middle age and varying degrees of being overweight. Friday night in a local cafe, we sit next to each other, their husbands and children facing us. We laugh and joke. They love it when I, the oldest, can't remember all the choices of potatoes the waiter rattles off. Youngest niece says simply, "You look like sisters." Saturday, dinner in an old Cuban place in Ybor City. Again, we sit together, me in the middle now. I hold and squeeze their hands, kiss each on the cheek. Youngest says, "Sisters forever." We taste each other's dishes, share café con leche and Spanish creme brulee. We shop for gifts for each other's kids, spoiling them the way aunts do. Overpriced athletic gear and cologne for theirs, an armful of Beanie Babies for mine. A teenage sales clerk helping us asks, "Are you sisters or something?" Sunday we cook at home, work on the kitchen's island counter, while brother-in-law barbecues the meat outside. Kid sister and I scrub potatoes, make salad, while middle sister directs, tells us what she likes and doesn't. We use 2 heads of lettuce, sliced olives, creamy avocados, cucumbers, and beefsteak tomatoes. Salad grows so large, we need a punch bowl to toss it in. Kid sister fixes the middle one's favorite dressing, fresh lemon juice, kosher salt, balsamic vinegar, and oil. 8 of us in their Victorian dining room, lit by a leaded glass chandelier and antique lamps, laugh at each other's stories as we pass around plates of succulent food. Out to a favorite haunt for dessert. We are the largest party there. Family has Cuban coffee, macadamia nut ice cream, peach cobbler. I order key lime pie. It tastes like this only in Florida. Sweet and tart, like this last night together.